Mr. Ensko, what is your feeling about the role of the in-between as related to the so-called hippie problem in Ocean Beach?
Well, the feeling I have, and incidentally, Harold, it's not my own personal feeling alone, it's many, many persons. We feel very definitely that the in-between gives credence and gives a socially accepted place for the hippies to meet. And the word is out in the hippie movement that here is a church-sponsored situation, a good place to sleep off the drug if you've got a problem. And they know that those who are involved in managing or running the in-between have a tremendous amount of sympathy for the people who are in the hippie movement. And it appears to us that what they should do is put their sympathy toward those of us who are being affected by the hippie movement. And the in-between itself has been a real source of problem, a real problem in regards to the keeping the young people from getting close to the hardcore hippie. This is what really hurts. These young folks go down there. It's accepted because they are church-sponsored. Their parents agree to this sort of thing. And they go down there and meet the hardcore hippie, the dope pusher, the sex pusher, the dirty literature pusher. And this is what's really bothering us.
If all these evils exist at the in-between, how do you explain the fact that quite a few churches, including your own, the Point Loma Methodist Church, continue to sponsor activities at the in-between?
After attending a church meeting the other night and having the in-between story explained by those who are sponsoring the in-between and those who are literally working down in there, it boiled down to just one thing from what I could see. That in the church, it has a mission in life, and that is to look after the person who's downtrodden. And therefore, the people in the church feel that if you vote against the in-between, you're voting against God. What they fail to take in consideration is that this is a very professional problem. We were told by a police officer that with the years of experience he'd had on the police force and working with narcotics, he did not feel qualified to be a person to give advice to these persons who come to the in-between. And yet, at the church that night, there was a show of hand of volunteers who are going to go down there and take care of the dope problem. It just isn't that simple, Harold. It has to be done on a professional basis. And churches sometimes stick their nose in places where it really doesn't belong. And once they do it, it's very, very difficult to pull back out because nobody wants to admit they're wrong, much less a church.
Mrs. Dozier, just what is the in-between? What's the reason for its being?
The in-between is a meeting place for young people in the beach area, and it is sponsored by many church people and several church institutions. It is a place where we hope to extend the work of the church in building a caring community among our young people.
Was the in-between established because of the specific problems of youth today?
No, the in-between was established by a group of young people who wished to have a place near the beach to meet with friends and simply a non-commercial meeting place for young people.
But there are certain special problems that are confronting the youngsters today, particularly in this beach area, that the in-between is involved in.
That is true. As the young people in our county began to demonstrate many youth problems, Episcopal services and other backup services such as the Crisis Center, the Crisis Clinic, began to be related, and we can offer help to a young person who wishes help as well as just a place for a meeting and enjoyment.
What sort of help do they need? What are their problems?
Well, sometimes I think a young person just needs a place to be and a place to talk and a place where they can be accepted, just as I, as an adult, need a place to be and a place to talk and a place to be accepted.
There have been allegations that a lot of these youngsters are coming in from out of town and are intent on creating another Haight-Ashbury out of Ocean Beach.
Well, the young people that I know here are in the main the young people of the beach community or the greater San Diego community.
Why is this called the in-between?
Well, it started out to be in between the church and the world, and then our first location was in between two bars, so that met with everyone's approval. And in between is a wonderfully neutral ground on which to build loving relationships.
Well, I'm going to toss out a question or two that might be inflammatory to you youngsters. Let's see what happens. The in-between is accused of being a place where kids make contact to get drugs and learn all about sexual perversions. Who wants to handle that?
Can I start? I think mainly that's something that a lot of people have said, a lot of the people, so-called establishment people have said, simply because they don't like, quote, long hairs hanging around in the beach. And that seems to be a very good charge to make. so that everybody will get a negative view of the in-between. I think mostly it's a place where people come together and rap and talk to each other and get a few guitars together and sing and things like that. And I don't think really it's a contact point.
We can't be so naive as to say there are no drugs in Ocean Beach. There are drugs in Ocean Beach, and we all, I think, will testify to that, some of those who have used them and some of us who haven't experienced it. But the point is, how does the in-between play? What role does it play in the drug problem? And as I see it, like Eric, I think, was trying to say, we don't have drugs in the in-between, right, Mrs. Dosher? And they don't pass drugs in the in-between, and there's a severe penalty for using drugs in the in-between, that being the individual is isolated from the rest of the group. And for young people to be isolated from other young people who are their own peer group is really hard to take. So we don't condone it in here, but we know it exists, and we're sorry for it.
Mrs. Dozier, acknowledging that drugs constitute a problem here at Ocean Beach, what is the in-between doing about it?
If a young person comes in here under the influence of drugs, we give them three options. They must allow us to call their parents, or they must allow us to call their crisis center to get medical help, or if they're ambulatory, they're given the option to leave.
Now let's get to another touchy point, what your attitude is towards the police. Who's willing to take that on?
I'm willing to start it. The attitude of the kids down here toward the police admittedly isn't good. It's negative, but I think there's been justification for it. And it seems that what the police do is come down into the area and do their best to provoke an incident and to invoke the anger of the people around, whereupon they begin to make arrests when people start reacting, even vocally. And naturally, people are going to start getting angry, and their reaction to the police is going to become negative.
Do you think there's any chance, pardon me?
It can't be said that all police officers are
That's
evil.
true.
There's a small minority of police officers, as there is a small minority in any group that's like the bad apples in the barrel. And they provoke a lot of bad connotations of the police uniform. And it seems like we happen to get a large majority of this minority in the beach areas. And it tends to give all of the police officers a bad name, but we have had many very good police officers who we can say officers of the peace in the area, and we have worked with them and cooperated with them as best we could.
And it's a known fact that when those police officers come into the area, there is never like a bottle thrown or never anybody screaming pig, because when those police officers come down, everybody knows that all they're here to do is enforce the law and to protect the citizens.
Investigated a number of complaints with the objective of seeking criminal complaints where illegal activities had been created, and found that a number of the statements made and a number of the allegations were in fact based on rumor and not on fact.
Isn't it true, however, that there is a considerable amount of drugs being used out there, that there is drug abuse?
Yes, there is drug abuse in the beach area.
Is it considerable? Is it in alarming proportions?
Well, the alarming proportions it depends on your perspective and your perception of the problem. In terms of other areas of the city, Ocean Beach doesn't deserve any more credit for drug abuse than, we'll say, Claremont or any other beach area.
The in-between, which is a gathering place for youngsters, has become a focal point of controversy. Have police been able to confirm illegal activities there?
Not at the in-between per se.
Is there a danger of Ocean Beach becoming another Haight-Ashbury, with many transients pouring in there?
No, I don't think so.
Isn't the very appearance, not necessarily just drug abuse and conduct, isn't their very appearance, the long hair, sometimes generally untidy looks, a point of friction within the Ocean Beach community, primarily with the merchants along Newport Avenue?
Yes, it is. I think that anytime you have large numbers of youngsters who are wearing long hair and clothes that are not acceptable, so to speak, to the general norms of society, that there are going to be those individuals in the area in which these kids congregate that are going to be highly critical. And one of the areas of criticism is that it tends to drive business down through kids panhandling in front of a business, or the kids that do become involved in drug abuse becoming abusive to citizens and tourists on the street.
You have made arrests, of course. There have been numerous arrests in Ocean Beach. You're not turning your back to the problem.
Oh, absolutely not. I think in terms of putting this in its proper perspective, we have to recognize that the police department is faced with the responsibility of providing for the protection of lives and property. And along this line, we do make arrests. We will continue to make arrests in the beach area for those that are violating the law, so to speak. And I've spoken with the people at the in-between, and they have no quarrel with this approach to law enforcement.
The in-between has been accused of being a focal point for narcotics distribution, narcotics contacts, immoral activities, and things of that nature. What is your opinion of the in-between? Have you had personal observation of it?
I have not only had personal observation, I have worked as a chaperone in the in-between and will continue to do so because I feel that it gives the young people a chance to come in off the street. Now, as to the violations of the narcotics laws, we have strict regulations against the handling and holding of narcotics, as it's called, on the premises. Alcohol is definitely out. And immoral behavior, well, my wife comes down with me, and I wouldn't want her to see anything that I haven't seen. I'm unsure of immoral behavior as it is defined by other people.
Do you feel the in-between facilities should actually be expanded to encompass many more activities than they are now able to provide?
If we had the money, that would be one of my choicest obligations, to help to expand it, to give these children a chance to come in and do things which would keep them out of possible difficulties.
What sort of activities?
I'd like to engage in art activities. I'd like to engage in the production of small theater groups, plays. I'd like to give them the opportunity to listen to good music, to have just a place to relax, too.
Do you think the city could enter into some sort of a cooperative venture in this respect?
Well, as it stands now, it is privately financed by the churches of Ocean Beach, and I'm unsure that I'd like to see the city into subsidizing it. I'm not sure that I would like to have that help, but we will conduct it as a clean, decent place to operate in, and we'd just like to have the city see that it is being done that way. The fire department has come in and checked the premises and so forth. The police are welcome at any time. We enjoy it there.